All right, Rachel Pastor, welcome to the Happy Hustle podcast. I am super excited to connect.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. You're a happy hustler through and through. And, I figured it would be such a great conversation to talk about mindset, especially, in 2022. I think a lot of people are up to big things. They want to achieve big goals. And what oftentimes gets in the way is mindset, right? And I'm excited to dive into that rabbit hole with you. But before we do, I want to ask you, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Oh, man. Let's see. Well, I don't know that we're going to go into it today, but I mean, I've lived a very different lifestyle than the one that I have today. I've spent a good portion of my life homeless and addicted to drugs, and so much different lifestyle than I've lived today. And I also have, let's just go with that one.
Well, no, I mean, you can keep going. I do want to extract a little bit more from that, because like you went from a homeless heroin addict to basically now America's #1 fitness mindset coach. And I'm just curious, what, if anything, was the biggest catalyst from getting yourself out of that state in, really starting that transformation for yourself?
So it was one promise. It was one promise that I kept myself every single day. And it's actually the exact same process that I use with my clients now. In what I help them with, but it was every single day, just keeping that one promise to myself day in and day out. That truly changed everything that I did, because I started to change my brain. I didn't realize that's what I was doing at the time. In fact, I had zero idea what I was doing at the time. I tried to get clean. I can't tell you how many times. I did have a life-changing experience that happened. And I mean, the whole experience was, every single day I knew I didn't want to live that life, but I kept living that life over and over and over and over again. And then my boyfriend that I had been with through this whole entire addiction and homelessness, he ended up dying of an overdose. And it really was the last person that I had in my life. He was the last relationship, the last anything I had in my life. I had nothing else left. And so when he passed away, that really was a, die or, change moment. And for me, I had tried to change so many times. So it's not like I hadn't tried. And honestly, I did really just want to end my life. I really didn't want to go on anymore. I didn't really see the point. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to give it one more chance. I'm going to try one more time. And I decided to do it in a completely different way. I removed myself from everyone I had ever known. I packed everything I had in a backpack. I sold this car that I would sleep in. It didn't run. It didn't have like any of the parts that you would need to even drive. I just would sleep in it. I was able to get enough money from that car in order to buy a plane ticket to Hawaii, a one-way plane ticket. And I told myself, when I get off this plane, when I get there, I'm never ever going to use again. And, I had, it wasn't just that simple. I had looked ahead of time. I'm like, is there methadone clinics? Is there this? Is there that? Any crutch I could find, because, this is a major thing. And so there was nothing there. And I knew that I was going to intentionally have to go out to continue that lifestyle. I was going to have to go out and find it again. And so I didn't. When I got off that plane, I said, I am never going to use again. That was my one promise. And that's the one promise I kept to myself every single day, no matter what, no matter how hard the day was. And I grew on those promises, and I stacked promises, and it changed my life.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Such an inspiring story. And, it's so cool to extract, it down into just one promise to yourself. And that's, I think, a really great place for us to, dive in with, this interview, because I think people break promises to themselves all the time, right? And it's one of those things where once you break the trust in yourself, it's hard to win it back. And I know you talk a lot about mindset. I know you use NLP and this neurolinguistic programming to, change your mindset. Talk to us a little bit about this now mindset shift that you have, and maybe like the number one mistake you see with individuals, and their mindset.
Yeah, well, I'd love to go back to what you just said around people constantly breaking promises to themselves over and over and over again. And why is it that the easiest promise to break it's typically for people the promise that is to themselves, right? Like we show up for our families, no doubt. If our kids ask them, if we told them we're going to pick them up from school, are we going to just leave them there? No, of course we're going to pick them up. Your spouse asks you to go to the grocery store. Yeah, sure, I'll go. Of course you go. But when it comes to ourselves, we say, hey, you know what? Tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, like something you want to create in your life, something you want to do, something you want to do to feel better. And life happens. And the very first thing off the list is, hey, here's something to myself. Boom, off, promise left. Why is that? And the reason that is that for a lot of us, it's not that we don't have integrity. In fact, a lot of us have a ton of integrity. It's that we don't, the self-integrity habit is broken, right? So that piece is broken for a lot of people. The great news is that self-integrity is just a habit. And so it can be created again at any time. It's just like for a lot of people, those certain anchors that we really need to be anchored into in order to create the life that we want to create have been broken at some point across time throughout our lives through different beliefs, habits, and behaviors beliefs that have been put upon us. They're not even really beliefs of our own. Or just habits that we've gotten into. And so until we learn how to anchor back into these places that we really need to be anchored into in order to create what we want to create, we are constantly living on what I call the hamster wheel, doing the same things over and over and over and getting the same results.
Yeah, it's a really great point. I mean, the hamster wheel will get you and it's hard to get off, Talk to us a little bit about kind of what you're up to now. Like fast forward and, now you're like one of the leading fitness mindset coaches. Give us a little insight as to, why you started your business and who you really serve now. Yeah.
So why I started my business is because I actually started in the health and fitness industry in 2008. I started into the health and fitness industry because somebody during my recovery invited me to go to the gym. I am not the person that, grew up top of the sports and was all into fitness, nothing like that. That was not my life, obviously. But they invited me to the gym and I was like, people go to the gym. That's interesting. But I really needed a friend and I really wanted a friend and I was hoping somebody would hang out and talk to me. So I was like, sure. Hey, I'll go to the gym with you.
Yeah.
And so I went, we walked on the treadmill and just talked and even just watched TV, just really hung out together. And we kept going back and kept doing that over and over and over again. And what I started to notice is I was feeling better and better and better every single time that I went. And even to the point where I decided to try a cycling class, sat in the cycling class, had no idea what I was doing, scared out of my freaking mind, sit down on the seat. The instructor, turns up the music, drops down the lights and everybody's just hooting and hollering. And I'm just going with the energy in the room. And I just I get so into it. And when I left there, I remember driving home thinking, wow, whatever that was, I need to show that to other people. Because in my mind, all I knew was broken people. All I knew was people who were searching for the light that they saw in other people. They were searching for that for themselves. And I was like, I need to bottle this up and I need to bring this to as many people in the world as possible. And that really became my mission. I went back to school, started working in giving people, I started teaching cycling classes, became a personal trainer, started my own fitness and nutrition business, then opened a gym, and it just really grew from there. But what I really, really noticed and what brought me to where I am today is, why was it that people had such a hard time getting started on their health and nutrition or fitness plans? What was it? Why was this so hard? Right? Or why, even better, why did people have a hard time sticking with it? What was the missing piece? Why would they go to the gym for like a month and then not go back again until next year or a few months later? Yeah. What was the broken piece? And what I could tell is it wasn't the fitness and nutrition plan. It really wasn't. And it was much deeper. It was within. And that's when I really went on this mission. What I really realized is that everything I used to change my own life was everything that everybody needed in order to create these own habits within their lives. And I became an NLP master, so neurolinguistic programming, but really that just enhanced this process of really being able to rewrite the stories in people's minds, rewriting stories, reprogramming our brains, because we all can create whatever we want to create. The person that's having a hard time getting started with the nutrition plan, or having a hard time sticking with it, or a hard time starting a business and a hard time sticking with that business, it all comes down to back within yourself. It all comes back within you, within the beliefs you have about yourself, within who you believe you are, is your identity, who are you waking up and acting into every single day. It's all the same thing. And so that's where I was like, okay, if I can repair this, if I can teach people this, you know what? This is really what they need. Yeah, sure. I still hand out fitness and nutrition plans. I do that. But I don't ever do it without people repairing what really needs to be repaired.
Wow. Yeah. And it's overlooked oftentimes, that identity, and what really needs to be repaired is a lot of times those self-limiting beliefs, those things that truly hold us back. And we all, have them in some capacity, right? There's that negative self-talk that oftentimes is our greatest restrictor. And what you're talking about is reprogramming your brain, and on a subconscious and conscious level, right?
Yes.
What's the first step? If someone's listening to this and saying, Rachel, that's great. I know I need to reprogram my brain. I know I need to tell myself better thoughts and break through these shackles of self-limiting beliefs. What's the first step?
Yeah. So the first step that I always take people through and I'm sure, especially with what I do with people, I know for a fact, the first thing they're doing when they're looking it over is wait, I joined you because I want to love my, I want to have this body that I love and want to lose weight or whatever. But I ask people, I say, hey, what are all your goals and dreams? And I'm talking what are the scariest goals and dreams that you have? The ones that are just you don't even what are those? Download those, write those things down. Okay. So sit down, write down what are all your goals and your dreams. And then I want you to look at all those goals and those dreams. And I want you to ask yourself this huge question. I want you to ask yourself, why haven't you accomplished these things yet? Why have these things not been accomplished? And really take some time to write those things out. And what you're going to come out with is what are your limiting beliefs. You could come out with pages of reasons of why that has not been accomplished yet. And those all come back to limiting beliefs. And then from there, I would take you through a process of really working through and reprogramming those limiting beliefs. Before I take you through a process that everybody here can use today, I also want to tell you the other thing that you want to do with this goals and this dreams list is you really want to take out and look at who is the person that is living out all of these goals and these dreams. and really ask yourself, what are the characteristics of this person? Really, what are they hardworking? Are they loving? Are they kind? Are they giving? Like, what is the characteristics of this person? So you can start to build out the identity of the person who is living your goals and your dreams. And then also, what are the beliefs of the person who is living out the goals and the dreams that you see here, right? So you're going to come out of doing this process, limiting beliefs. What are empowering beliefs? Because what are the beliefs of the person living these dreams? And then also the characteristics. Who do you need to be? Who do you need to be waking up as every single day in order to be, living in this life, creating this life, And so the process that I want you to do to take yourself through limiting beliefs, and this is really going to be a writing process that you can do in the limiting belief. Great. Okay. There it is. You have it. Now, what's the story behind the limiting belief? And sometimes it takes people going through, and that's what I do. I take them through going through a subconscious experience, which is I take them into a NLP meditation so I can get into their subconscious mind. But really sit there. What's the story? What's the very beginning story? This could be from elementary. And it most likely is, or something from your childhood, right? Okay, what's the story? What's the new empowering belief? Okay, so what's the new empowering belief? And then what's the proof behind that belief? Because your brain needs proof that this is true. It's our brains don't necessarily know the difference between something that's really happening and something that it's just seeing. So like when you're creating this and you're writing this out, if you really feel an emotion around it and really see that proof behind why this is true for you, it's going to be able to start to create those shifts in your brain. Now, for some people, they might be like, I don't really have proof that this is true for me, because I do hear that a lot. What's beautiful is what I just told you, is the brain doesn't know the difference between it happening to you or it happening to somebody else, like if it saw it. So that's what I call expanders. Find expanders in your life. Find people who have created this in their life. Find people that who literally can expand your mind to the possibility that this is also true for you. We see it on a daily basis, whether you're following people on Instagram, you're listening to podcasts, your mind is constantly expanding to what's true. So just again, limiting belief, what's the story behind the belief? What's new empowering belief, and what's the proof behind that belief?
So awesome. I mean, and you really broke it down in a simplistic way. It's something I highly recommend all the happy hustlers, like, rewind, go back, listen to that again, and actually do the work. I get the most out of podcasts when I am an active listener, not just a dormant participant, but like sitting there and taking notes and doing the exercises. And Rachel literally just provided you a roadmap to step-by-step reprogram those limiting beliefs and then create empowering beliefs, finding proof, and those expanders. I recently had on the youngest best-selling American business author of all time on the podcast. His name's Alex Manai, and he wrote a book called The Third Door. And he said something to me that was really, it was powerful. He said, you can change someone's life by helping them change what they believe is possible. And it's like the possibility, what you're talking about is those expanders, the possibility for yourself. Like, if you can change what's possible for yourself and believe that possibility, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you desire. So super cool. I like to dive into the mindset there. Now let's talk about health too, because, health's a big component of what you're all about. I know you've worked with thousands of clients, and you serve a bunch of clients now, still transforming their health. What would you say, to someone who has been on that yo-yo diet or that hamster wheel of, somewhat getting success and then failing some of the times. What would you say to them in terms of like really optimizing their health and making this shift like once and for all? What would you say is like the first step in the health department to making that transformation a reality?
Yeah. So, first of all, the first step to anything is awareness, right? So why do you struggle in this area of your life, right? And really be completely honest with yourself about this. Is it, again, it's probably going to lie somewhere within the beliefs that you are currently carrying, beliefs, and also around your habits, right? Do your habits match your goals? And again, be honest with yourself about that, because if your goal is to, run a marathon or just to work out consistently or just feel better, maybe you want to drop some weight so that you're at a place that you just feel more energized and healthy. Do your habits and behaviors match that? And that quickly will answer a lot of your questions into where you're at right now and why you're there. And then I want you to do something similar that I just walked you through. And that's, okay, well, if this is my goal, what type of person do I need to be in order to be creating this goal? What's the identity that I need to be waking up and acting into every single day? Is it most likely is a person who enjoys working out, who takes time for working out, who keeps promises to themselves, who, drinks a good amount of water, who looks at what they're eating or maybe plans ahead. And, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not the person who's like, no processed foods, no this, no that, I'm that's not me at all. But I am the person who's thinking, okay, we got to be thinking, are you taking time to even thinking about the food that you're putting in your body? Are you even taking time to eat? The number one thing that I see with entrepreneurs and busy people just in general is that they're actually overweight or unhealthy because they don't eat enough. They don't eat all day long. They're super duper busy. And then they get into the evening and they're like, holy crap, I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything all day long. And they just grab the first thing that's in the fridge, and they're getting no good, micro or macronutrients in their body at all. And they just feel like, so where are you starting from? And then also start where you're at. Most trainers want you to meet them where they're at, right? I would say that we've all seen this, right? That you go to somebody, you're like, I want to get healthy. I want this, I want that. And they're like, great, here you go. I want you to work out 6 days a week, and I want you to eat this, and I want you to do this and this and this and this. And literally you're not doing one of those things yet. Maybe you're doing one, but none of the 7, right? Or like one of the 7. That is the greatest way to set yourself up for failure over and over and over again. You need somebody to meet you where you're at. So if right now you're not working out at all, or you're just working out here and there, maybe start with sticking to 15 minutes a day, or 5 or 4 15 to 30 minute sessions, or 10 minutes if you're not doing anything. That's going to be a game changer for you, a game changer. Maybe if you're starting to thinking about eating, like you're that person that I just said, like you don't think about what you eat at all. You go all day long, and then you grab Taco Bell on the way home, or whatever.
Ooh,
Chick-fil-A.
love me some Taco Bell.
I love some Chick-fil-A. So,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but maybe your first thought is, for now, I'm just going to maybe think about every single day what I can do for breakfast every single day. Just like start there and grow from there. I'm going to take you all the way back to where this whole podcast even started. One promise can change your life. Like, don't start at 7. Don't start at 17 if you're not doing any. Start at 1 and grow from there.
So true. I love that. You're gonna laugh at this promise that I've kept to myself for, I don't even remember how long, but it's like been over a decade. But I have a promise to myself that before every single shower or bath, I do naked push-ups. And I have done naked push-ups or naked pull-ups if I might pull up bars up for, I don't even know how long, but I do them till like basically failure, or at least till I'm tired, and then 10 more. And it's been like a little thing in my life that has been so consistent. And like, it doesn't matter if I just went on a rager for New Year's, I'm coming home and I'm doing those naked push-ups. Or if I, am sick and not feeling good, I'll, yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's so true though. Again, the one promise can make all the difference, and it's just one of those things. I hope all the happy hustlers out there listening can, think about one promise that they can keep to themselves starting today. One promise, even if it's, I'm going to drink a gallon of water, or I'm going to, move the body 20 minutes every single day, or I'm going to stretch, like stretching adds 7 years to your life if you do it every day. That's a fun fact. I didn't know that, but then I've been stretching every day since because, it makes sense for longevity. Yeah. And so it's those little things compounded over time. Darren Hardy talks about the compound effect, and it's these one promise compounded over time makes the difference in your existence. So cool there, Rachel. Now, I do want to kind of do a pivot. Not only are you great at what you do when it comes to fitness mindset, but you've grown this like 7-figure business, right? I mean, talk to us about your entrepreneurial journey and, kind of, if you had to extract like the greatest lesson from your entrepreneurial journey for the happy hustlers out there.
Yeah. So, the entrepreneurial journey, man, I'm always like grateful for podcasts like this when it comes to the entrepreneurial journey, because, it really adds that support for people to really not feel alone, because entrepreneurship can feel like a very lonely place a lot of time. Yep. But I will tell you that I always say my superpower is, and I think it's any entrepreneur who's ever been able to, create what they want to create and get where they want to go, is the power of not giving up. It's who can hang on the monkey bars the longest, no matter what.
So true.
And so I would say that I really feel like that sums up my journey as far as like how it's been. It's just been no matter what. There's been things that have like, I don't necessarily even like the word failed, because they've taught me my biggest and best lessons ever. But definitely there's been times, I have a gym, and there's this like spot in my gym where I've sat in that corner and bawled my eyes out, knees on the floor to God, being like, Jesus, take the wheel, because it has felt so,
oh man,
so like hard at moments where I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't understand right now. I feel so broken. I don't know if I should keep going and keep doing this. This feels like so hard. And, but it's been, again, never giving up.
Yeah. I mean, I like to use the phrase persistent consistency, and it's just like you persist past the inevitable adversity consistently. Like you just have to have that fortitude in order to achieve really anything in this life. People, they like to talk about the unicorns or the overnight successes, but in my experience, and Rachel's and pretty much every happy hustler that I bring on the show, like it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes, the sweat equity, and it takes time of failing and then evolving from those failures. In terms of, just in terms of failure, I always like to touch on it. What would you say was the greatest lesson you learned from failure?
Yeah, so in 2018, I decided I was going to create an event. I was going to create an event to impact the masses, because really that is my mission, impact the masses with this joy that I found. I told you guys about that joy I found. I bottled it up, My mission's to impact the masses. So I was like, they built this stadium here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Beautiful, beautiful stadium. I was like, finally, we have the venue to hold this event, this vision that I have created. So I rented out the stadium, and it was like, I started to tell everybody the mission about behind this event, that we're just going to bring together people through fitness and health, and we're just going to celebrate, and make people feel amazing in this one day. And let me tell you, people came on like crazy, like businesses, health and fitness businesses, they came on like crazy, because at the end of the day, we all have a similar mission. Like, we want to help people feel good. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, everybody's like jumping on. Well, in the meantime, I've never put on an event. No idea what I'm doing. I brought on a team of people who also had no idea what they were doing. Just people who I was like, who wants to help?
Nice.
And I was renting out the middle of the stadium. And then before I knew it, I outgrew that. So then I rented out literally like I think the concourse area. Like, so then the whole thing, then it was so big. I had so many vendors that not only that, it was like I was shutting down the streets around the stadium just to fit vendors. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Well, again, I didn't know how events worked. So I had all these people who are like, believe in this mission. I'm like, I'm going to bring all these people to this event. And so I counted on ticket sales to pay for the event. Okay. Not that I didn't charge vendors to be there or anything like that, but I had no idea, again, what I was doing. So I didn't cover any of the costs for the most part, because I don't know if you guys probably have thought about this already. Renting out an entire stadium and shutting down all the streets around it is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so I'm like, we're going to bring this many people. I counted on ticket sales 100% to pay for this event. So, we go into the event. I didn't know how ticket sales worked for an event like this. And so just so you guys understand, in this type of event and any events typically like it, the statistic is that majority, you're going to say even 80% of your people are going to buy the ticket the week of, if not in the majority the day of. Okay. So had no idea that statistic at that time. None. So anyway, we're going in 2 weeks before, literally ticket sales are nowhere near I had anything planned. Not even close. Going in, and I'm like literally sitting there at the table, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to tell my husband that we're literally gonna have to mortgage our home. Like, we don't even have the paper. Like, I was like, this is one of those moments. I went out to my gym, and I was like in the corner crying, and I asked for a sign. Actually, I asked for a sign that I'd be given a sign, like, God, just show me a sign that I'm meant to do this, that I'm on the right path. I swear you opened this door. Now, please lead and guide me. And I asked to be shown a butterfly. So anyway, I left the gym that day. I went and worked with somebody, and the whole entire way I'm driving, I'm looking for any butterfly even possible. I haven't seen a butterfly the whole damn year. I don't even know what I was thinking, asking for a butterfly. So anyway, we're just driving, no butterfly, no butterfly. So head back to my house, and my whole team for the festival is there. And at this point, I'm thinking, like, do I can I can and run? Like, I don't know what else to do, So I'm such a transparent person. I'm gonna tell you right now, like, we're looking at around $180,000 right now. That I'm going to have to pull out of my pocket. Me and my husband don't have this money, we're like, yeah, whatever, So anyway, I'm like, okay, pull into my house. I'm going to go in, I need to be honest with everybody right now. So for some reason, my garage door opener didn't work. Went around the back of my house. I was walking in, walked to the back of my house, went through my back door, and right as I was opening it, I saw the shadow on my house, and I just followed the shadow. I looked to the side. It's the biggest effing yellow butterfly I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my gosh.
And,
Wow.
and the butterfly just flies up and around my house, and I fall to my knees, and I'm just like, my team just sees me, and they're like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "You guys," and and then I just tell them, I know, I tell them I am honest. I'm like, "This is where we're at, guys." You know, I felt very I felt like a hug in that moment. Like I felt like, okay, God's going to take care of this. And yeah, and it did. You know, did we walk away from in debt in that first event? Yeah, we definitely did. Did we have to mortgage our house? No. So there was like, you know, it was those moments of like jumping into something that I had no idea what I was doing. I was just following my heart, just following my dream. But so many lessons learned in that time of like things that, you know, do you know how many people have already fallen on their face and scraped their face trying to do what you're trying to do right now? Like, learn from other people, you know, ask other people questions, you know, reach out. Like, it's okay to ask people questions. It's okay to say, hey, they're doing what I want to do. Like, reach out and ask, what have you learned? You know, hire coaches, like do these things. Because I can tell you, I probably would have saved myself a lot of money if I would have asked any types of questions before getting started in doing this.
Yeah, such a great point.
Now that being said, it's turned out I've kept that event going, and it's been great. I did it the year after, and it's still an event that I do. But yeah,
and it's profitable now, right?
Yeah. Now it's profitable. But
there you go.
A lot of people might have given up that moment. They probably would have been like, it lost money, so I'm not going to do it anymore. That's not a reason to give up. I mean, I know for some people they would say that's a reason maybe to give up, but that's going to happen in business. It is.
Yeah. Wow. It's so true. And, you know, the real lesson I want to just echo to the happy hustlers out there is the power of asking mentors, coaches, others who have been where you want to go, you know, and it's like, I know you're a big proponent of paying for help and, you know, getting coaches and support, as am I. And, you know, I just think it's one of those lessons you can learn the hard way, or you can learn the easy way, you know, from someone else's mistakes. And, you know, that's even like, if you can't afford to hire someone like Rachel for a one-on-one consulting day or whatever, you could buy her book, you know, or listen to her podcast, or buy my book, or like my podcast, you know, it's like, there's ways to extract people's knowledge. A lot of these influential individuals who have the answers to your problem, give them away in a very inexpensive format. So I just really want to double down on that one. Now, Rachel, I do want to ask you a couple of the more traditional Happy Hustle questions that I like to ask my guests. These I like to call the Happy Hustle hacks, you know, a tip, a tool, a tactic. You know, we've talked a lot about health, but I want to hear one of your health Happy Hustle hacks, something that you do, you know, consistently that moves the needle in your life. Can you think of a Happy Hustle hack?
Oh, yeah. So in health or just in general?
Yeah, in health.
In health. Well, so my one promise a day, my baseline health promise is that I drink a gallon of water every single day. But I would say that one of my hinging point that helps me in everything that I do, and is a part of health, is that every single morning I wake up to do journaling and meditation. I'm a huge believer in that, creating that space.
Yeah, equally. I'm in that boat with you. Journaling, meditation, prayer. I think that's the cornerstone of, you know, really having a great life. So that's awesome that you mentioned it. Let's talk about money. I always like to talk about money. I think it's, you know, a very important tool that shows you more of who you are and shows others around you more of who you are. I'm sure you've made a bunch. I'm sure you've lost a bunch. You know, do you have a tip or a tool or a tactic in regards to money, maybe something that you do to save or spend or invest wisely that you can share with the happy hustlers?
Yeah, Yeah, so I always invest in, well, first of all, I always pay myself first, and I always invest in my company. So, like, I always invest in growing my business and in my own growth. So, in every single thing that I do when I'm looking at my budget for 2022, 2021, whenever I'm doing these things, there's always places in there of, okay, paying myself, what am I investing in? And part of investments for me is investing in coaches, investing in masterminds, investing in my own growth. Those always pay me back tenfold. I will say that that's when I've always seen the most growth in my businesses. And then I would also say, you know, me and my husband were really big into doing investments into, you know, in a lot of different places. So we could be investing in crypto, real estate, but we're always putting money aside to put into those investments every single year.
Very cool. What's the latest crypto you're eyeing? I'm curious.
Man, well, right now Ethereum's always good. Always good. I mean, that's probably, I'm not buying it. That's probably where we
invest in
just,
it.
it's like a feeder, it's a feeder into so many other ones. So I can really see the benefit in that. But I would say that we also are getting into different types of coins around, let's see, I think like the last one that we did is AMC. I want to say AMC. Yeah. So it's around, you know, artists being able to own the rights to their music and to what they're putting out there. And it's just something that I truly believe in. So it's something that we invested in. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see where the road leads in, you know, music, in artists, in the way that those things are sold moving forward. And so we invested in a crypto that really backs that.
Super cool. Now, I do want to ask you about spirituality, you know, a happy hustle hack around just tapping into a higher power. I know you mentioned, you know, meditation and journaling, but do you have a happy hustle hack to connect to a higher power that you can share with the happy hustlers?
Can you repeat the question?
Just in terms of spirituality, you know, something like maybe something that you do to just connect to a higher power, you know, a happy hustle hack in this department.
Yeah. Yeah. By being quiet, you know, I'd like, sometimes I'm just like, just shut up, just be quiet, just be. And that's really where I've been learning to just listen to what, you know, God's trying to speak in me. And I think that we oftentimes are so busy being busy. And so, you know, we don't even stop to listen to what like God's laying out right in front of us. He's already answering, like the answers are already being answered. They're already within inside of us. We just need to stop and listen. And so that's really what I do is I just take quiet time, like literally nothing. I just listen. It's called no time.
Love that no time. That's awesome. Now, Rachel, speaking of, you know, meditations and mindset and all these awesome, you know, things that you're up to, I know you have something super cool for the happy hustlers out there. Talk to us about this phone number that the happy hustlers can text and get access to.
Yeah. So I have this text line where I send out free weekly reprogramming meditations. They're anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes long. And then also I send out daily fitness mindset, like reprogramming mindset. I send that to you. It's all free. I just love to do it. And so they can text join to 970-442-5848.
join to 970-442-5848. That's a super cool, unique way to connect and to add value. And I hope the Happy Hustlers take you up on it. And then also, if you guys want to check out more about Rachel, you can go to rachelpastor.com, right? That's the domain as well. Now, Rachel, I do want to run you through the rapid fire round. And this is basically where I ask you random things and you just answer honestly first things that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Favorite movie? Go.
Dumb and Dumber.
Favorite food?
Sushi.
Favorite book?
A Purpose-Driven Life.
Favorite workout?
HIIT training.
Best business advice?
Don't give up.
What's your spirit animal?
A butterfly.
3 things you're most grateful for?
My husband, my kids, and this freaking phenomenal life I have.
And if you had one piece of content for the world to see on a billboard, and this was your last piece of content, what's that billboard read, Rachel?
Take the road less traveled.
Love it. Crush that rapid fire round, Rachel. I appreciate you. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your inspiring journey from homeless to, now #1 fitness mindset coach in America. And, you're just up to so many cool things. And I just, wanted to say thank you for sharing your gifts with the world.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I absolutely love this time with you, and I just love who you are. So I'm just been grateful to be sharing this space with you.
I received that. I appreciate it as well.
Thank you.
Now, any last words that you want to share with the Happy Hustlers before I ask you the final question?
You know what? I would just say, like you already said it, but every single podcast, there's always going to be a couple things that you need to take from it. So what were those things for you? Really take them and actually do work on it. Don't just hear it, but actually put it to work.
So true. Now, final question. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Oh, happy hustling means really being in flow in your life of living in your happiness and just being in that, flowing in that, hustling in that. That just feels good.
Love it. Rachel Pastor, everyone. Thanks for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love.
Bye.
Woo!